On December the 4th, 2025, we have a moon full and bright in Gemini at 13 degrees, and it is very special because it's exactly bending the north and south node of fate. The nodes are sitting at 13 degrees Pisces and 13 degrees of Virgo. And when we add the element as well into our sky of the sun, we create a grand cross bending the nodes of fate. This is one of those kinds of lunations that can only happen once in a blue moon, as they say, because we need that moon to be perfectly at the square to the nodes of fate in the signs of Pisces and the south node in the sign of Virgo. And we only get that every 18 and a half years, let alone a moon so perfectly poised. What does it mean in English? It means that probably we consider this to be about fated events occurring in the general collective and in our individual lives, because the nodes of fate represent life without a steering wheel. You're on the roller coaster and there is no way you're turning that baby. You're on the merry-go-round and you're not in charge of the trajectory. On the other hand, this moon is on a star called Aldebaran or Aldebaran. It is a powerful star for worldly success. It favors people in the fields of communications and writing and speaking, any kind of communications endeavors, but it also can be connected like its counterpart Antares, where the sun is sitting, with war. So Aldebaran and Antares can both be connected to elements to do with conflict and war. We'll be bringing that conversation into the world astrology for the first 15 minutes. If you want a deeper dive into world astrology and what's going on in the world, just check me out over the Pluto Chronicles on Substack, where I can be more freely spoken about what's happening and not worry about, giving you code words or having a demonetization or a deplatforming problem. I am also excited to tell you that minor asteroids are in the mix, and this is great. We have the rainbow asteroid Iris. We have a beautiful energy of the whistleblower Askalaphus. So we have rainbows bridging the worlds. We have Askalaphus blowing some whistles, the whistleblower placement, the truth teller, the speaker of truth. We also have the asteroid Child and a homecoming asteroid, but finding one's true home. It's a Hawaiian asteroid, Leleaukuhonua. I know I didn't say that right. And Child with Chiron involved in this story. I'll show you the chart so you know what I mean, because it forms a big cross. I wouldn't use these minor asteroids unless they were hooked up to the nodes of fate, which they are, which makes them important, and or in this case also strongly connected to a sextile from Chiron, Child, and Leleaukuhonua. So you'll see what I mean when I show you the chart. So these asteroids are hooked up to real sky material, these minor asteroids. I did check the Sabian symbol for 13 degrees of Gemini, and it happens to be an incredibly powerful symbol, a telepathy, conversation by telepathy. And the emphasis is on attunement and listening with the ears of the soul, going into that inner voice, listening with the inner ear for guidance. So there's something about this moon that can open us up in the Gemini sky, the part of our sky that is activated to that inner voice. And that inner voice can, definitely be of great guidance in a time like this. Well, welcome to my channel. My name is Lori Lothian. I'm using Western Tropical Zodiac, whole sign houses, fixed stars, minor asteroids. You get the idea. All of my astrology is geared towards giving you predictive value so you can time your best life and move in harmony with the sky, not pushing against the wind of the times that we're in. But also remember that the astrology today is general bell curve astrology, not a personal reading for you, which will be a whole different cup of tea. Nonetheless, listen for your sun sign. If you're listening for career and purpose matters, your sun is your true core nature. It's more essentially you, becomes more actively true about who you are after the age of 44, 43. You can also look to your moon sign to be your emotions and also your home and domestic life and how you think about reality. And the exciting part is that rising sign ascendant is your simulation avatar. It's the role in the screenplay or the movie that the actor would play. The actor is your sun. The role is your ascendant. So you're not really the ascendant, but you have to filter the light of your soul into the world through a character, right? The character, the way you look, the way you act, the identity you play is your rising sign. If you don't know how to cast your chart in whole sign houses, I have a free tutorial below, and it's really fun to do, and you'll be a lot more on your A game predictively if you use the ancient house system. And if you want to find your rising sign, you know, your birth time, I have a free video tutorial on that same how to cast your chart in whole sign houses. Gives you a tutorial. It also allows you to find your ascendant. That's free. I've got a bunch of freebies below. Just scroll under my box. You can get my Asteroids course for free. All my stuff is under my description box. Now, if you're a regular, welcome back. If you're new and you want to try me out, it helps if you hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss a thing. And that also helps the channel grow. My views are the same as always. I have 1 million views a month. My subscribers are down in the month of November. Not for anything I did that made you guys unhappy. Thank goodness. No big unsubs for political content, but please like and subscribe and help this channel grow. I really would appreciate that. Thank you so very much. If you didn't catch wind of my 2024 All Signs bundle, the deadline is November 30th at midnight to get the $44 price delivered to your inbox on December the 1st, which is a Monday. Those are 12 videos. Each one is 2+ hours long, plus a PDF guidebook for the whole year ahead. That is my yearly fundraiser. You'll never see that price again. If you want to just buy your individual sign, I don't know why you would. It's a stocking stuffer. It's a gift to friends and family. You know, Sun, Moon, and Rising. There's 12 signs, 12 videos. But those individual sale price videos will be available in December for $33. Seems like a deal to me to get the bundle. All right, guys, let's start off with the story of the sky. I don't know. When the moon or anything sits exactly 90 degrees, I mean, exactly 90 degrees away from the north node of fate, and exactly, you know, the south node of fate and the north node of fate, destined places where eclipses are happening. There is no two ways about it. This is one of those moons we really need to pay attention to. It is in Gemini. It is on the powerful worldly success star Aldebaran. And it is connected to the energy of Archangel Michael in the Middle Ages astrology. If you want to understand there's an archangel there, that might be fun for you. Gemini, of course, is a mutable, changeable, adaptable, flexible sign. Gemini is connected to brothers and neighbors, and so warring brothers and warring neighbors. And we have that in Ukraine and also in the Middle East. So there may be a turning point energy coming up as we see a shift in the zeitgeist around those wars. I would say that probably the December the 4th full moon will bring a close to the Ukraine-Russian war at last. That one for sure. The fighting neighbors, absolutely. The other thing I want to say is it's a new moon. It's a full moon, but it takes place because we had a new moon around the 26th or 7th of May, 2025, planting a new beginning or a fresh seed in matters to do with Gemini. And your Gemini sky is one place in the heavens that represents one whole sign house, one whole sign of influence, like your marriage house, your career house, your children, your creativity, your money. And we're going to address that when we get to the all signs, because there's a fullness or a completion or fulfillment here. And because there is a worldly success star here, it can bring some worldly success. I might call this video something like Fated Full Moon on Worldly Success Star or something like that to get you to click through. All right. I don't know that you're going to find the square easy, but the moon is what we call bending the north node. So it calls you to expand or to grow or to evolve or move into a more worldly success focus in Pisces. So we're going to connect the Pisces part of the sky to the Gemini part and make stories for your sign and the world. Gemini world leaders, Gemini people that we know in this news cycle will be impacted by this. Donald Trump is a Gemini sun. So we can see this in Donald Trump, massive pivots and turning points as we move forward over the next year. Kamala Harris, well, next 6 months after the moon. Kamala Harris is a Gemini rising, we think, although some people debate that chart. And if that's true, she's also having some very pivotal turning points coming off of this particular lunation as well, because both for Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, these are bending the nodes of fate, particularly the north node. So destined changes for all of those characters in our stories. We're going to also talk about what happened in May, that the new moon planted a seed for the world that's now fulfilling itself. For instance, in wars in the Middle East, or more so even Ukraine, Russia, I'd expect something there as well. And there's an ancient technique I might just draw our attention to called lunar shadows and make some assumptions about world events in that regard as well. So let's get going. I'm going to show you the sky and give you a look at it. When we get to the all signs portion from one of my favorite decks, the Urban Crow Oracle, just because it kind of matches my outfit. We'll be drawing a card with the astrology knot instead of it. So those of you who don't like this, don't worry about it. It's a longer reading. I don't take away the astrology. I just add an oracle card to amplify or collaborate with it. Okay, so let's talk about what happened in May, or the third week of May into early June, because every new moon or a full moon unfolds a couple of days, 2 to 3 days before, and all the way up to 6 months later. But you see the epicenter usually playing out close to the moon, like the sort of the Coles Notes version of it. Cliff's Notes, Coles Notes. And it like literally gives you the lay of the land, the themes that will be emergent from a new moon or full moon cycle. So the full moon on December 4th is going to unfold over the course of a couple of weeks. You'll get to know what it's about. And then even more so, it'll complete itself within 6 months until the next new moon in the spring, or, May, June of 2026. So let's talk about what happened in May for the world. We're doing the world stuff. So with that new moon coming through at the last week of May 2025, the big stories were Venezuela had a parliamentary election. We're talking about the last week of May and the first 2 weeks of June to see the unfoldment, right, of what was going on. So there was Venezuela in the news story at that time, the news stories at that time. Ukraine launched a massive drone strike against Ukraine. Russia launched a massive drone strike against Ukraine, killed 12 people. It was all over the news. It was like May 25th. That was a part of the new moon. So we see Ukraine, Russia in the mix. We see stories about Venezuela coming off the May new moon as well. And you may remember about the airplane crash in India around June the 12th. That also is a part of the aftermath of the new moon that happened in the month of May. And that was where that one man walked away alive. And there's suspicion that the captain or the co-pilot, one of them was suicidal, with the main pilot, not the co-pilot, and caused the plane to crash purposefully as it was just getting airborne. And there like over 200 people died. So I'm going to give you themes of air crashes, Venezuela parliamentary stories, elections. The United States is gearing up for a regime change and attacking Venezuela as I record this on November 25th. And we'll see something about Russia, Ukraine, because the blasting news stories on the 25th, 26th of May were about the audacious deadly drone strike launched by Russia against Ukraine. And that's what we got. So those themes will come back, and the world astrology more likely than not off of this lunation. Now, the other element about this full moon that we might want to consider important, just as a general principle, right? Because it is sitting in the sign of Gemini, and across the way, the sun is in the sign of Sagittarius, and Sagittarius rules air travel. And Mars is up there as well. And Mars is obviously difficulty. Mars can rule accidents, injury, mayhem, events of terror. So we have that as well. Now, some people who are very much into, looking at events that are created in order to motivate people to go to war, events that are created, manufactured to motivate people to want to go to war, to get the country to agree to go to war. Those kinds of events can very much be connected to this kind of a sky as well. Will anyone get away with it? I don't know. I'm not saying that, but I'm just going to say, it wouldn't surprise me if this full moon doesn't lead to some kind of event that's slightly manufactured or plotted or planned to get everyone riled up about a war and going to war, getting a war engaged. Now, let me show you the sky and I'll show you why and what I mean. Manufactured consensus. How's that? Is the word I'm looking for. Manufactured consensus. Yeah, okay. Hopefully not. And that would also maybe cause a black swan event. Okay, for the markets, which are already, as I already predicted, I did predict the markets were going to go down, and there's going to be a lot of turbulence because of Uranus retrograde in Algol in Taurus, which is what's happened. Ever since Uranus ingressed into Taurus, the markets in the stock markets have been highly, highly unstable. So here's our sky, just a general view of the sky so you know what we're looking at. And let me just, don't forget to trust your intuition on this moon because of the telepathy symbol connected to it from the Sabian symbols. But what I want you to look at is the fact that this is 13 degrees, and this is 13 degrees, and this is 13 degrees. This is unbelievably precise. That makes a big square or a crucifixion, grand cross. It's a very difficult aspect pattern in our heavens right now. Anybody, any person, any place, or anything who is close to Sagittarius 13 is involved. Netanyahu and Joe Biden and the United States of America all have ascendants in Sag close enough to 13 degrees that I think that it may involve stories about each of these characters. With Joe Biden, it can't be obviously a health issue, right? Major downturn in his health or announcements about his health, or even more than that, maybe he's getting ready to leave the planet. Whistleblowers, and the United States ascendant is at 13 degrees on a war star, born that way, born to go to war. The United States is born to be a military empire. It's not a democracy, it's a republic. And the sun with the star Antares is exactly on top of the United States, right on top of the United States ascendant. This is the house of open enemies across the way, whatever they call an open enemy. This is Mars, them's fighting words. There's some angry, aggressive, conflictual war energy going on with Mars, who passed over Antares about two weeks before this moon happens. And Venus is here. Now, can she bring peace? Well, she normally would try, but she's invisible underneath the beams of the sun, dying as Venus morning star, which is Venus as a warrior star. She's been in her morning star iteration for the last 10 months, which doesn't help because it brings us in more likely to encounter wartime settings when Venus is morning star oriented. Whereas in an evening star, which will be next after she co-joins the sun on January 6th, then we're more likely to see sustainable outcomes regarding peace. So my feeling is the United States is getting angry at someone or something as a nation, right? The ascendant is right here. And there's something about taking aim because that's Mars in some way. Whistleblowers belong to Askalaphus, who has to basically know when to tell the truth. I'll read the asteroid for you. Oh, I won't open it up. I just like to read it. Yes. A son of the god of war, Aries, king of the minions, one of the Argonauts, killed by a spear during the Trojan War. So, okay, that's Askalaphus. And the meaning is learning when to be silent, when to be discreet, and when to reveal truths. Urged to become a whistleblower, revealing inconvenient truths, spying and eavesdropping. Now, we had a lot of whistleblowing going on lately, making the news cycle. It's crazy. And then we have Candace Owens, as I'm recording, on Twitter with over 40 million views, telling people that she believes that the French government is out to get her, to unalive her. I'm not going to explain it here because this is not the platform to keep my channel going. I talk about that a lot on Pluto Chronicles. However, I do think she's a Virgo rising based on a cursory look at her chart. And with her Mercury in the sign of Taurus on the star Algol, a star of decapitation, and that's where Uranus is right now. When we had the Scorpio new moon that occurred on November the 19th, I said she would disclose something that shocked the world. And like 3 days after the moon, she disclosed that she has proof that a foreign government is trying to undo her life, right? So that's whistleblowing information, but she found it from a whistleblower in the French government who gave her the info. So she's a whistleblower blowing whistles that other whistleblowers are giving her. Whatever you think of Candace Owens, I don't care. I never watched her until recently after the Charlie Kirk death. So she's blowing a whistle, right? And I think that that's going to put her in harm's way. I did do a horary chart on that with my Patriot Substack community yesterday, and it looks like she's not making it up. She really is in the crosshairs of a threat to her life. Now, a viable threat to her life. Now, this chart isn't really her chart, right? I'm just bringing her in because I think she's a Virgo rising. So we'll see what happens with that Virgo rising energy that she's about, what could go on with this sort of intensity. Like she probably has Venus. She has her Venus and her sun in Taurus as well as Mercury in the ninth house of God and religion and church and university campuses, where she spent a lot of time with Charlie Kirk going around university campuses. She was a part of PragerU's talk show, university. Now she's super religious and believes in Jesus and goes to Catholic Church, etc. So that's why I think she is a Virgo rising. It puts her sun, it puts her Venus and her Mercury in the ninth house. It's also about a house of justice and truth, and she thinks she's speaking it, and therefore she's telling the truth on air, and she's out to speak truth, and she has a premium on the word truth. She always talks about, the truth is the only thing that matters, and truth is a ninth house word. So this is a woman with the whistleblower asteroid moving maybe through her ascendant, and she's blowing whistles as well. South Node puts her physically in harm's way over her body / ascendant, for those of you who are learning astrology. Now, the other thing to notice here about this guy is that this is a South Node on the midheaven of Benjamin Netanyahu. So Yahoo. And so that's not good for his keeping in power, losing power. Whistleblowers may whistleblow about him, things that are going to destabilize his control of the Knesset and topple him from power. That's how I think this is looking for him in this particular sky. He happens to be a Sag rising. So he's in this crucifixion cross right here with his open enemies in a full moon bloom. Alrighty. So it's a lot of intensity for Benjamin Netanyahu and a lot of intensity for the United States and Joe Biden as well, who's a Sag rising, probably falling much, much more ill, if not getting ready to exit the planet. Finally, the North Node over here with Saturn and Neptune on the star of, Shiat. It can be about water disasters, like tsunamis or flooding or cyclones or hurricanes, but it can also be about suicides. And it's possible that, I probably shouldn't have said that word here. That was a flag word on this platform, but the taking of one's own life can be very indicative of things that could occur under the sky. Would someone really take their own life, or would we be told, like Epstein, that they took their own life? So there's no way to know, of course, for sure sometimes, but I would say that whistleblowing about people who took their own life but maybe didn't, like Epstein, like that guy connected to OpenAI ChatGPT and that story, who was a whistleblower, and what really happened to them, maybe those stories will make the news cycle. It's possible. As long as Mercury is still in Scorpio, there's a tendency to want to share information that was hidden from view, and news cycle will open up. Information that we didn't know, things that were hidden, becoming disclosed. And with Jupiter in a beautiful trine to Mercury, it's true, it's good, and it's needed, and it's just revelations about sordid secrets and dark stories that we would call conspiracy until the conspiracy is known to be true, right? And I think the general public is highly conspiratorial. They no longer believe what they're told. I was watching the NASA thread during the live show, like the talk that the 4 NASA scientists about Atlas, 3i Atlas, and the majority of the comments were nobody believed what they were saying. Most people thought they were covering stuff up. And I can only say that I do too, because Avi Loeb, for whatever you think of him, and other scientists are seeing so many anomalies with this, in quotes, comet, that it's not a comet. It's something, but it's not a comet. So people are disenchanted. No one believes anybody anymore. Don't believe your government. Don't believe NASA. Don't believe, your politicians. You don't believe your mainstream news media, which is basically bought, owned, and paid for by offshore interests, corporate interests, and or 3-letter agencies, right? Everyone knows that, right? New York Times and Wall Street Journal are drop sites for 3-letter agencies who put what they want out into the news cycle, right? To manipulate us or to disclose something because it's a good time for disclosure. So it's like, that's reality, guys. I'm not a conspiracy person. I'm just a realist. All right. So good news for the world and me is that this is the asteroid Child. And it's been tracking with Chiron ever since the famine in Gaza was made publicly known about 3-4 months back, in which people began to see what was really going on there, and that there were children in the wounds of war, Chiron, who needed medical assistance. Chiron weren't getting it. I mean, food would have been good, And this energy here, Child and the wounds of war, Chiron, has been tracking beside each other for a very long time. as we watch the devastation in the Middle East happen. And now we have the asteroid child and we have Chiron, and wedged between them is the asteroid for homecoming, yearning for one's home, to return to one's true home. Leleaukuhonua, okay? I'm going to say it is something to do with the ongoing situation in the Middle East between the nation of Israel and Gaza, and this idea of the home that belongs to the people. Or if you want to take it into greater Israel or into Zionism, then the yearning for the true home, expansion of one's true home. But those are stories ongoing, very tightly connected to the moon. Why? Because the moon at 13 degrees is hooking up with child and the homecoming asteroid in a perfect sextile. And so we'll see some stories there as well. I think that because the land or the property or the real estate connected to the neighbors of Israel, I'll say the word Israel, okay, I'll just say it, is defined as Israel is a nation of a Libra rising, and the war started from the eclipse on the ascendant of Israel in October of 2023, along with the South Node and Mars traveling there, that this makes the third house of the neighbors and the neighborhood what the Sagittarius sky is for Israel. And look at how much intensity, sun on a war star opposite the moon on Aldebaran, another war star, with Mars, a war. So there's a lot of turbulence going on in the local environment that surrounds that nation. It doesn't have to be Gaza. I already predicted accurately that they would reattack Lebanon. I predicted that on Substack. It happened like days later. It has to do with the moon and that we just had, and the Mars bending the nodes and the South Node of Virgo, and Lebanon's Virgo rising. Okay. So, but we could see more skirmish and scuffles and fighting with its neighbors. Okay. Or its neighbors against them. Those are all possibilities under this sort of sky. Yes. Especially, yes. I can say more about it, but I'm not going to. If Netanyahu is going to face justice or comeuppance or karmic justice of any kind, it could happen. Like, you know, he gets an arrest warrant and someone gets a hold of him, but it could also just be within his own country. There's a pending law case against him. Unless he's pardoned, as soon as he's no longer in power, he has to go face this bribery lawsuit of some sort, you know, court case, misuse of power. And because this is the house of courts, right? Or legal matters and courts, let's just call it legal matters and courts for the rising sign of Israel. This could definitely bring the situation of the legal courts against the leader into the storyline. All right, that's enough of that. Now, what I'm going to do, because I do most of the world astrology in more depth at Substack, it's written content. What I'm going to do is talk about your sign. My focus is going to be the flow to child and the healing of a chironic wound and the return to your true home, with a touch point on the idea here that this is a star also of worldly success. Yet I can't ignore the bending of the North Node, so we'll tie that in as well. Please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can help this channel thrive. I put a lot of energy into it, and while I do have a really beautiful number of monthly views, the subscriptions are down because YouTube's not sharing me with new people. So it keeps kind of I'm preaching to the choir, and more of the choir is signing up. So can you share this more broadly with your friends and family, or whoever else may not be subscribed or don't even know about me? That would be highly appreciated as well. All right. So now we're going to start with Aries. We're going to roll around the wheel. I'm going to give you my best shot of how to deal with this particular moon. Always go back to May. You planted a seed in the last week of May, like May 26, 27. Now it's going to come to a blossom or a harvest. Try to tie it together. It's important to do that as well. Let's go ahead and let's start with the sign of Aries. So let's go take a look at the chart together, and let's start moving through the story of this sky. Let's start with Aries, the sun, moon, and rising sign. Don't forget, guys, to like, subscribe, and hit my notification bell. Aries, I got to get you in line here with the horizon line, right? And I'm having issues because my brain is fried. I'm on jet lag, but no, it's not my fault, actually. Good to know. It's just that the essential times are having challenges here. Oh my God. Oh my God. Excuse my language. We're starting with Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising. So, Aries, you have this story of a chironic wound in your identity since 2019. And now child has been traveling there, for about 6 months. And maybe you've been in touch with your inner child, or your childhood wounds have been rearing up to haunt you. And you're just working through some childhood stuff and, ways of being and all that stuff. All of that said, you also might be noticing that this is a new moon, full and bright, in your third house. That is a seed that was planted in a new moon back at the end of May in 2025. And you wanted to start something fresh or new down here. This could be like a new social media platform, a new writing project, a new entrepreneurial endeavor, perhaps. You might want to start something new that it has to do with teaching or learning. So there's those kinds of new, fresh starts you wanted to create in the third house. Some of you might want to, maybe in May, change your neighborhood to a new start, fresh start neighborhood. Well, that happened for me. I moved my new place into my new place, well, really the beginning of July. And so all of this energy for a fresh start now comes to a fulfilling or completing or whatever fulfillment story. And in fact, this is a house of travel as well. And maybe there are seeds planted for travel. Now you can fulfill that, which is wonderful. Now, the moon is, of course, on the star that I mentioned, which is Aldebaran, and it's the star of great worldly success. Now, especially in communication, and this is a house of communication, it could be marketing and selling, teaching and writing. It's all of your social media and media platforms. Now, a full moon, full light brings fulfillment and spotlight here. For example, you might end up in the spotlight for a lot more things, like, being invited on a press tour, or radio shows, or podcasts, or articles written about you in the media. It can open up doors of that kind of opportunity. It can open up social media success at a level maybe you haven't yet encountered before. And if you're going to write something, it's particularly a star that impacts writers. A lot of well-known writers have a strong Aldebaran in their chart. And so it could open up your writing, and you could be beginning to see fulfillment of some ambition you had for writing something, and the fruiting or the fulfillment of that. Technically, this is a moon that also wants you to come to a home, a true home, a yearning for one's true home. And with Jupiter in your fourth house, which is luscious for expansive and bigger and more luxurious home, some of you will, in the, say, 6 months that follow this moon, maybe be looking at a new home, a bigger, more luxurious home, maybe a fulfillment of a dream for a home that's more true for you, a homecoming, right? A return. The migratory birds are returning to their home. Lele, what's called the asteroid Lele, rather than be trying to pronounce it. Migratory birds yearning for their true home, searching for their true home. So there's a quality. If you do want to find a new home, I wonder about the asteroid child. Would you move back to some place that's close to where you lived as a child? And that could fruit as a financially windfall energy as well. Who knows why? But Jupiter's bringing you wealth and prosperity in, from, and about matters connected to home. There is a square in the sky. There's a big cross that this moon is activating, as you can see, and it is going to square the north node. And that is asking you to increase your success in matters to do with the 12th house. And the 12th house matters are things to do with the following: spiritual awakening, money generated from digital income or borderless revenue, or foreign companies in foreign places, or money made in a foreign land. Money that can come that way and increase your financial success as a result. And then the North Node here has also been expanding, hopefully anyway, something to do with creative or artistic projects you might pursue when you're home alone, or more spiritual contentment in your life. If there's going to be any fulfillment off this moon connected to the third house and it changes your neighborhood, right? It could be a significant change, because the 12th house is distant shores and far off places. And so rather than moving to a house down the street or within your city, it can suggest that some of you may want to move much further away from where you currently live. And yet at the same time, feel with Jupiter's blessings through till July, July, Jupiter is in your fourth house, that it is a blessed and positive, and you're grateful for this lucky opportunity for this move. Okay. Now, what I might want to slightly point out is the rainbow bridge over here. And there's some like bridging of two worlds. This is like Iris, and she's a rainbow asteroid. And I look at her like, it talks about bridging different levels or realms, right? Or different planes of existence. I had a dream last night I was on the wrong plane, the wrong airplane. So there's a sense here of wanting to be able to bridge something from one side to the other, a realm, a different place, one place to the other. And so in that regard, what are you trying to bridge in your work or in your health? You're trying to find a bridge to something here. It could be a radical desire to bridge a dietary habit change, but it could also, or an addiction because of Uranus's placement, but it also be looking to bridge a situation kind of like to connect to a new way of working. Self-notice, say, let go of something that you're doing, let go of the work you're doing, release something in your work and service area. And yet there's a bridge to something new. That's all I can tell you. It's ruled by Mercury. The bridge is ruled by Mercury, and it's in the house of chunky money. The bridge could be an inheritance. It could be a stock investment taking off. It could be the bridge to start investing in the stocks and not work so hard. But the bridge is ruled by Mercury. And the reason we're talking about the bridge in the South Node is it connects you to the moon. So there's a new way of being financially successful that could also help you bridge out of or towards a different path in the work that you're doing in this world, finding a new way through to a new level or new plane in the work itself. Now, we are going to draw a card for every sign. So you're next. Just be aware that this moon does reflect the possibility of fulfillment, and it does feel positive. And the last thing I could say is a fulfillment for travel, or of all things, a fulfillment for romantic love. If you are single looking for romantic love, fulfillment of romantic love through a mechanism of traveling to foreign lands and distant places, or a foreigner traveling your way. Or if you're looking for love, it could be meeting somebody in an academic or learning environment, or a spiritual community. And for the next 6 months after the full moon, the fulfillment of that yearning for a relationship for singletons can come in. Otherwise, if you're with somebody, it might just be an opportunity for long distance travel with your significant long-term marriage partner. Probably going, what is she talking about? Because the sun rules your marriage house and Venus rules and the sun rules your love and romance and Venus rules your marriage house. And they're being reflected in the third house of travel or whatever, or they're happening in the ninth house of foreign lands or spiritual community. So there's another side story that you might have not noticed. I not brought it up to your attention. Yeah. And the moon is ruled by Mercury in the house of chunky money. So we can't ignore that chunky money may come, more ways to have money that you don't earn directly, ad revenue, royalty income, book publishing royalty income, that kind of thing. Yeah, I'm on my A game today. This is the card called Distance. Not just my outfit. And I said there's a potential for a distance move, right? And I'm not going to read these cards. I'm just going to give you the word, unless I don't understand the meaning of it. There's a chance for something, love that blossoms from a distant travel opportunity, love that blossoms from traveling some distance, or a distance traveler coming your way. Or you could even have a blossoming here of going the distance in some creative or writing project, or you might be looking at a distance, something good things are coming from a distance financially as well because of the 12th house activation. Yes. Okay. And the migratory birds are looking for their true home. And maybe your true home is not in any close proximity to the current home you have. And this moon could show you a new way within the 6 months that follows the full moon in the sign of Gemini. Moving on to the next sign. I don't know. Let's see. Can you guys see that? So we're moving into Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign. And this guy's showing me that you're having a kind of fulfillment and completion of a financial matter that may have been playing out since end of May last year, where there was a beginning and now there's a fulfilling or completing. It's got a grand cross. It's very tense. It could involve entrepreneurial businesses. It could involve selling a business. Mercury, Jupiter, trine is a sales opportunity. You may be selling a business. You could be buying a business. You could have a turning point in finances connected to those themes. But the moon is also reflecting the energy of, even though it's a worldly success star, remember that financially, but it's also reflecting planets in your 8th house of, banks and loans and mortgages and financing and investments and inheritances, so there's a lot going on over there. The sun is a ruler of the legacy wealth 4th house. Money transferred from family of origin could come your way. But there's also the energy here of the potential, given that the North Node is being bent by the moon, of what feels like a windfall. Like something may be coming off of this lunation that feels like a financial jackpot for you. Okay. You do have Uranus transiting the wealth star Algol in your sign right now for a shocking surprise. It could connect you to unexpected wealth. With Mercury in your 7th house ruling the moon and opposite Uranus, an offer to buy something, buy your home, buy your business, contractual agreements connected to money and wealth as well. And there's a possibility that this windfall comes from your work, that you feel like you just got like a bonus check at Christmas or a performance review, a salary increase, and the amount of money you're going up feels incredible to you. You feel like you hit the windfall. Now, when I say windfall, I get that a lot of people are like, yeah, well, could you win the lottery off of this? Probably not the lottery, not with the South Node, probably not in your 5th house. But it can feel like a windfall, feel like the jackpot, feel like a lottery win, right? So it depends on where you are in your money situation, but it feels like a reward and you feel blessed and you feel grateful for that. That's a very strong indication here in that regard. You might be trying to bridge something in the 5th house, a bridge to romance, like maybe there's a distance between you and another, a shore, a distant shore, or like the bridge has to cross over something of the rainbow. So you're trying to find that rainbow bridge to something connected to love and romance. Maybe you have a romantic interest, but you're separated. Or maybe you want to bridge the connection. Maybe the intimacy or the romantic connection is a little bit unstable and you want to create a more harmonious relationship in an existing love relationship. And the bridge is going to want to support that as well. Because the moon is in the house of speech and it's full and it's lighting up your house of speech. And because this bridge is in a romance house and it's ruled by Mercury in the relationship house, intimate conversations with significant loved ones may make a bridge for the relationship coming off the full moon. Okay, now mostly for most of you, it's a money story. Okay, end of story, money story. Homecoming, yearning for one's true home, childlike innocence and wonder in the 12th house. Now, the 12th house is a house of self-undoing. It's addictions and bad habits and self-sabotage. And, the homecoming and yearning to heal this chironic wound and the asteroid child may point you to childhood wounds that keep tripping you up because you haven't excavated them. You haven't dealt them up. You haven't inspected them. All right. So look more closely at it. Finally, it can look a little bit inheritancy. As I said, legacy wealth is here. Mars is here. It's a possibility that the chironic wound in the 12th house of hospitals with the constellation of planets in the 8th house lends itself to the possibility within 6 months of this moon that money coming from somebody in your family system, likely in this case, a father figure, solar figure, may be coming through for you. And it could feel like a relief or a windfall, or in your partner's family, if you're married, right? Their house, your in-laws, and money coming through their family that benefit you and a significant other. Let us draw a card for you and see what we get. Yes. Have a Mary Tyler Moore hair today. It's flipping up on me. I slept on it and it just ended up looking like Mary Tyler Moore from the old Mary Tyler Moore show. Okay, I'm on my A game today. Commitment. Why do I think commitment matters? Because your 7th house, I talked about it. Relationship stuff is activated in this time frame. Uranus, Mercury opposition across the self and other axis, but Mercury rules this moon. So money issues in the relationship, speech in a relationship, money issues connected to business deals and business partnerships, and banking and mortgages and loans and contracts. Very, very up on the number one feature for you guys who are Tauruses. And so there's a need to make a commitment, whether it's a legal contract, a business partnership, or a relationship commitment. But it does seem to also involve money. Now, that's not all that's going on. There still could be some legacy wealth from your side of the family or your main partnership side. But because I also saw the love house, the romance intimacy house wanting to be activated by the bridge, and the crows are getting along, right? They're committed to joint nesting. What way are you looking for a joint nest, whether you're single, the Taurus, or not? And I kind of like this moon to bring some of that into being over the course of the next 6 months. You're counterintuitive, right? You're going to say, oh, the moon's in my money house. Yeah, it is. And it squares your fifth house of romantic love. And it's ruled by Mercury in the marriage house. Makes sense to me. Let's draw another card. That would be easy. You know what? I don't know why I don't become a tarot card reader, only because it's a lot less work. Just flip some cards. Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising. I think I need to do Palm Gregory, because all you do is talk about the world with no specifics for any sign, right? I don't know why she's got like 500,000 subscribers, but I could try it. I just talk about general world stuff in a very slow drawl. And somehow that appeals to people. I have to throw in a few rainbows and unicorns with ascension and say the word ascension. And what I should be rolling in the subscriptions, a brand switch. Here we have Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising. I'm confessing problems to my Geminis. I have a progressed Gemini Sun like you. I completely relate. All right, your progress planets not as important as your natal positions, but you can vibe out there. So if you are a Gemini, the moon is in your sign, you planted a new seed of identity. Or if it's your rising sign, who do I want to be in this world when my character, what ways do I want to plant a new seed and how my character becomes identifiable in this world, how my identity is going to change, grow a new stalk or something. But if you're looking at it from your sun, it's your career path. It could come into a new direction, and planting the seeds hopefully in end of May, early June for that new direction in your career path. And finally, if it's your moon, you might want to plant a new seed in where you live, a new home, for example, back in May, June. And now here comes the fulfillment time. The moon is on the worldly success star. If you're Gemini Sun, you're going to experience great worldly success over the course of not only just the days around the moon before and after, but up to 6 months later. You might also be extremely successful if your sun or rising sign, Gemini, is near 13 degrees. Like closer you are to that, the better you are. Okay. My progressed sun, I think, is 16 degrees of Gemini. But on top of that, it is also great if you're in the communication, if you communicate for your success, write, speak, talk, communicate. So for communicators, this is a very powerful and very blessed full moon, fulfillment, fruition, big spotlight on you, all eyes on you, right? Yeah, you also have to deal with the seventh house, what you're reflecting, right? The moon is reflecting the audience, the marketplace, the clients, and you're cutting, severing, and ending. You might be changing the way you approach them. And Venus is giving you more charm and persuasion out there. And so there's a kind of combination of self and other going on. Now, of course, that's a relationship of long-term committed love. And Venus suggests you might meet somebody new. Venus is invisible. So she might come out of left field. You don't see her coming. She just pops out of there, which can mean a new love relationship. So you may encounter a new love relationship if you're single in the next 6 months, Gemini. But you could also be blindsided if you're already married by your spouse saying, I want a divorce. I'm sorry. For those of you who are married, Mars is kind of the divorce papers guy here, and Venus is hidden, so you don't see it coming. So the hidden Venus indicates kind of being taken like left fielders, right? You didn't see it coming. If you didn't see the love story coming and Venus and Mars are together, you didn't see a lot. You didn't see a hot, sizzling, sexy romance. Venus rules the house of sex and romance coming. You were completely not planning for it. It comes out of the blue. So these are things you might want to consider. I don't think Venus is visible again until sometime in March. So I'm not sure exactly. I can't remember. But nonetheless, keep it in mind that you have a hidden love story. And it can also mean the love story is there, but you don't see it. There's somebody that's fond of you, or sees you and wants you, but hasn't confessed their love for you. So singletons, that's a story I see for you. Definitely. Even if you're married, it could be both. It could be your partner's getting ready to kick you to the curb. At the same time, you're falling for someone else or someone's falling for you. Now, what about the idea that you're bending? We're all bending. This moon is bending the 10th house node. You want to move towards an evolutionary furtherment of worldly success in your career and reputation in a steadfast and lasting and tangible way, especially if you use imagination, fantasy, spirituality, enlightenment, videography, platforms, Neptunian things. And this moon is fulfilling that and showing you how, giving you the sort of, the 10 steps to put together that IKEA sofa of great success. So you're going to see the step-by-step way to increase your success and amplify your visible success in the world over the course of the months that follow, 6 months that follow the moon, but maybe evidence will be closer in. The bridge in the fourth house squares the home, the moon. It looks to me like a move. Some of you, not everyone, will want to bridge something here. Now, unfortunately, that bridge can be very intense sometimes because the south node is what you must let go of or release. So you can make a bridge to a new home and Mercury is in the sixth house of rentals. So maybe a bridge to a new rental property. He owns that node and that bridge over there in the fourth house. So there could be a bridge to a new home, a new rental property in particular in this condition here. All right. Letting go of one, bridging to another, and choosing perhaps a tenancy arrangement of some sort. Not to worry, Jupiter, full of wealth, is flowing to Mercury and you can afford it. Either it's a great deal or you got a lot of money and it's all working out for you. What's the yearning for a homecoming and what's the child doing in your 11th house? Maybe there's been some wounds with your friends and social groups and social circles, or even wounds regarding your social influence or the gains of your career. Chiron says be on purpose. Maybe you make money, but you don't feel it's purposeful and meaningful. And that's a bit of a wound. Now there's a yearning to migrate to that true home and looking at it from the eyes of a childlike vibe. However, the asteroid child and the yearning to migrate, the migratory storyline ruled by Mars, could indicate a migration coming off this moon, a move, in other words, connected to a relationship. So some of you may move only because of a relationship, whether one's beginning or one's ending. And that may precipitate a relocation agenda from the 6 months that follows this lunation. Now we're going to draw a card for you. Sometimes I just like drawing cards because they match my outfit. I'm like, oh, another matching card. Waterproof. Okay, so these birds are waterproof. Crows are sort of oily and everything rolls off of them. Okay, so it's asking you to be waterproof. Let it all roll off of you. Let it like bead and roll away. What would bead and roll away under the sky that you would want to have waterproof, ness? Be waterproof and relaxed around having to change your home. Like, don't let it, be waterproof around what the hell is that Mars doing in your 7th house? It can be trolls. It can be angry people. It can be your partner being gnarly with you. This is intense energy, right? And you are taking it on. You're the full moon reflecting some angry energy. So be waterproof. And of course, unfortunately, that kind of energy that I'm seeing here could also be someone wanting to exit the relationship that you're in, and you might have to just let it roll off of you. Don't get too caught up in it. It's up to them, not you. It's out of your control because Mars in the house of other is out of your control. Moving on. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign. This fated full moon brings turning point change. And it's happening in your 12th house. And 12th house stuff is hard for you to see because it's like I used to say, it's like you got a sofa on a carpet and a trapdoor underneath, okay? Or it's in the trunk of your car. It's hard to access the moon in the 12th house, unless you are a meditator, a dream incubator, a nighttime, wizard, unless you like to spend time alone contemplating the meaning of life and you hear the ears of the soul and you can tune into your inner voice, then this moon is fantastic. Then you're doing that. Then you're allowing for this full light in the place of solitude to guide you from a seed you planted there back in May, end of May. It has a connection often to where we have sabotage and self-undoing habits or patterns, including addictions. And there's a spotlight to show you where you might need to make a change. With this Venus, Sun, Mars energy across the way, I'm wondering if there may be some situations coming to light about the health of a pet. Unfortunately, Mars can be inflammation and difficulty or aggressive issues with the health of a pet. With Venus, somebody you love or something you love, a pet that you love. But Venus is invisible. Mars is going to maybe blindside you a bit. Mars is also a bit invisible here. He is invisible. So sort of being blindsided a bit by the health of a pet and an issue with a pet's health. Now, the fulfillment of the energy, though, of a worldly success moon is great if any of you are looking to make money from foreign places, foreign people, foreign companies, foreign shores, right? Or borderless income, digital revenue, that kind of stuff. That can be a light shining there, and you're going to work in some area of enjoying yourself as you create something. You work hard with Mars and its joy, and you're passionately working hard on something you like, be kind of tucked under the covers, getting it done, and you're getting ready to see that worldly success show up more in the ways money can come flowing to you. And the plan is being executed over months, not days, right? Over 6 months, perhaps. You are looking for a true home and a homecoming to a true calling, because Chiron is the key to one's purpose and original gifts and medicine for the world being expressed. And you've been dealing with this 2019, trying to figure out what your true calling might be exactly, not really kind of like I'm a square peg in a round hole in a square peg, not really finding that fit. Maybe this has been trying to heal extensively through eclipses in like 2 years and a year ago. The last eclipse was here in March. So you're really working to heal this energy. And I wonder if the homecoming isn't coming home to the truth of this is my path. This is my calling. This is what I'm here to do. If you ever thought, by the way, of renting a property, like renting out your home or renting a place to live, I do think that Venus ruling the fourth house and being reflected by the moon opens up the chance to rent a place in a distant shore or far off land, or to rent your home and move to another place, distant shore and far off land. Squaring the North Node of worldly success, pushing for worldly success in the ninth house, book publishing, podcasting, teaching, traveling, pushing for success in legal and court affairs through backroom deals and negotiations, perhaps. If you're single and looking for a relationship, Mercury's in the house of romantic love, and of course, Saturn in the North Node bending energetically is the owner of the marriage house. I would say single, you guys who are single, and you're a Cancer, Sun, Moon, or rising, most likely rising, Sun secondarily, but all three could happen, to include a new relationship for you. And if that happens, there may be a connection to foreign people, places, travel, a new relationship connected to learning centers or teaching environments or spiritual, like churches or communities, synagogues, whatever you do, and the beginning of a new love story. Certainly Mercury in the fifth house says that, but Mercury also in the fifth house has other meanings as the ruler of the moon. That one of your children may be moving out of the home based on this lunation over the next 6 months to rent their own property, for example. I'm not going to explain why I say everything. Quite often I do. I'm a teaching astrologer. In that case, it was Mars ruling the house of children and the house of rentals, right? Mercury being the news. You're going to hear this news. The moon might suggest they would want to move a little further away than just down the street, for example, right? So those are thoughts I have. One thing about the moon and wherever the moon wants the person to move to or whatever, this fulfillment moon is on a success star. So I don't think you should take it to nothing too negatively here. Soar, like a crow soaring to the top of the sky. Why would you soar? Because your 10th house is the highest part of the sky, and that's where Chiron and the migratory bird is flying for the yearning for one's true homecoming. Child is up there. When you were a child of the age of 16, and if you can remember 4 years old, that's when you got in touch with your natural hobbies, talents, and gifts. Maybe you were, singing around the house and you were 4 and your parents said, boy, you've got a great voice. Go back to 16, go back to the age of 4 and try to remember what you loved, because Chiron's trying to show you that anyway since 2019. What is the original gifts and talents that you were born with and soar to the 10th house height, because the moon is suggesting from the 12th house that you can do that. And 12th house can be also just breaking free of sabotaging and self-defeating habits, including doubting yourself. You know what I mean? That you're capable of soaring into a career path and success story in the visible part of the sky, the high noon. All right. What happens if you are a Leo? Sun, moon, and rise. Let me take a few more sips of my tea. First of all, there is a full lunation, and it is shining brightly, coming off the new moon in May, end of May, in your 11th house of windfalls, pennies from heaven, karmic and cosmic rewards, elder sibling. It is a worldly success star. It can bring great accomplishments. It could also be you are going to accomplish something significant in your career prosperity, your career gains, your career influence or success. And you're also going to note that this is a moon that is not just here, but it reflects Venus in the house of entrepreneurial and creative and talents and abilities and doing your things that you enjoy, and also reflects Mars. The cosmic lovers are here. So there's another story. You could meet a new person if you're single and be introduced through a friend or in a social circle with friends. And you might be coming into a very important, very powerful, very intense and beautiful new love story. And it could be with someone who's from a foreign country, okay, or hails from a far off land. The moon bends the north node of worldly success in the house of chunky money, including inheritances. Mercury rules it from the house of legacy wealth. Saturn can represent an elder grandparent or a very elder parent passing away. And quite the strong possibility that you come into some inheritance or bequeathment money in the 6 months that follows the moon as a result. And maybe it could be money from your in-laws as well, because your partner's side of the family, someone may marry to pass money down there as well. You could become pregnant under the sky, but so can your children. So there's a little warning. And you might be yearning for a dharmic and meaningful life, yearning to come home to your true calling and purpose. Chiron and the migratory bird from Hawaii are in your 9th house. And there's the asteroid child. I gave this advice to Cancers. I'll give it to you, especially given that child is trining the 5th house. This definitely can look like the birth of a child, but more importantly, a grandchild coming off the next 6 months. But it also can point you in the direction of learning and going back to school or increasing your education or furthering your education. But go back to the age of 16 and maybe the age of 4, and you might remember what you love to do that you're naturally gifted at as a child. And you might want to return to that again in this life. And the bridge isn't a money bridge, right? You're trying to bridge some kind of this shore and that shore on the finances. As you hustle, no, let go, release, and surrender the need to hustle, to work, to make money. This looks like some chunky money or safety net is coming to you of some significance, perhaps. And it may come through a sibling one older. Mercury rules that sibling as well. There may also be a chance with a sibling one older to purchase or sell a property in the next 6 months. Let's draw a card to see what we got. So one thing about reading the sky, I just finished my great cohort of sky reader class, guys. It was a great class, great group of students. And, it's literally learning a language. But once you learn the language, you don't look at a book to understand it. Once you learn the language, you know what the planets mean, the houses mean, you just riff, right? And it's a very multi-layered language. It kind of goes like this. You can look at the planet, the house the planet rules, what the aspects are. Oh, there is a owl pouncing on a crow, and it says exposed. Wait a minute. I'm giving you abundance. Why? Because it was stuck. 2 cards were together and one fell. Okay, I'll give you both. Abundance. Okay, that was the other card that fell off this card when I pulled it out. I think it's abundance because I see the chunky money house is active for you. And there's the axis of money story going on with the nodes of fate. And you got the house of windfalls. Okay, that's the card that was meant to come out. I'm not perfect. I don't see you being exposed. So it is the abundance card for you. And so look for that abundance. I better shuffle this a bit better. It's a new deck and the cards stick together still. So sorry about that. Like they're not like when I go to fan it, they can all stick together as well. Somewhat new deck, but I haven't played with it enough to loosen it up. You know what I mean? You card people out there. All right, moving on to the next one. Thank God I looked down and saw what dropped away from it because I'm like, that doesn't seem right. Moving on to the next story. It is a Virgo path ahead. It's your Lord Mercury ruling this moon in Gemini. Gemini is a part of your sky where there's, if I say full moon, not new moon, full moon in your career space, reputation. This is a house of weddings and wakes as well. Now, one of the things that go here, if you could fulfillment of a yearning for something, to move in, to get married, to have a wedding proposal, to set a wedding date. And you may have planted those seeds in the end of May, early June this year, 2025. And the thing about that is that the reason I bring it up, the moon is bending the nodes of fate in the house of marriage. So for some of you, it's definitely looking like an up-level upgrade. You could move in together because Mars is squaring the North Node here. So it could be into a beautiful home. With Venus invisible, the house is invisible. The property is invisible to you at this point. You may not know what it is. You may not see it clearly as of yet. That's for those of you who are planning to move into a new home. If you're not planning it, it can still emerge. So moving into a home together, yay. Buying a home together, selling a home together, yeah. But also up levels, marriage, wedding dates, more commitment, more solid connection to fulfill something. Now, in a career house, it might be fulfillment of a career. You might be looking at, it's time to complete or end this job or this path or this thing that I'm doing. I don't know if I want to do this anymore. But you might have been planting those thought seeds back in the end of May. And the reason I think this could be true is because the South Node says let go, release, and it's squaring that moon from your identity. You know what you need to let go of. You know what you need to release. You know there's something that's just not working for you here. It's been a tough haul. Saturn has been testing your long-term committed love house now since 2023. If you made it this far, you're doing well. If you make it through to February 14th, Saturn's done with you for 30 years. This relationship has been under a huge 3-year testing, any relationship you're in. Otherwise, you could have met somebody older than you or younger by 6 or 7 years. Very karmic relationship may have begun since 2023 for single Virgos. But it's been tough on an existing relationship. And the moon may also open up a new job contract opportunity that's more steady. It could be a job opportunity dream come true. And Jupiter says we can bring you a lot of prosperity from this new opportunity. So look for some evidence of that. It may come up sooner than later. So look particularly into the 2 weeks that follows this moon. Mercury as the Lord of the Moon suggests maybe a change of neighborhood, a change of home connected to a new neighborhood. Mercury also can open up a new opportunity for a job if you work in a local environment, like a new employer, a new place to work in your daily inhabited zone of influence, your job in the local area. I want to say that the moon is also connecting to the yearning for a homecoming in the 8th house. So, 8th house is an interesting place for this. And asteroid child. Chironic wounds in the house of shared resources, you and your spouse, whether you're together or separated, and challenges with money since 2019, sharing the money, or challenges with inheritance money that made you feel wounded. And those are ideas of what may have been going on since 2019. Now we have this kind of sense of a homecoming, asteroid child is here. The sun is involved from the 4th house. That could indicate some money coming to you from a father figure. Money that is hidden from view, but it is waiting for you, so to speak, to receive it. And with Jupiter in the house of windfalls, although we don't always want to receive money through the loss of a significant relationship in our life, as a parent or grandparent, that could happen under the sky, especially if the person would be on the elderly side, maybe with a cognitive dementia or dementia going on. You're trying to bridge something. You're trying to create a bridge, and it doesn't have to be yours. It could be your significant other's mom or dad or stepmom or stepdad as well, getting ready for a pass or their own elderly grandparent. The rainbow bridge, the bridge to the other side. You're trying to make a bridge. You are the bridge. You want to bridge something. You want to make a bridge to your significant other, a bridge to a new career, and a bridge to a new home. You want to find the other shore, the other side, the other place that the rainbow lands. Because somewhere over the rainbow, you are looking at life as there is a silver lining, there is a rainbow, there is a pot of gold, but I need to cross that bridge. I need to make a way to get over there. And to do that, I need to let go. You need to release. You got to surrender. It's a south node in your sign. It's almost like take your hand off the steering wheel already, and the thing will steer itself and get you to exactly where you need to be. Don't grip a wheel that doesn't exist. All it does is make your knuckles white. All right. Territory. Do you know that crows are territorial beasts? Look at them go. Territory. Are you territorial about your relationship? Are you territorial about your home? Because I saw those changes of home, the Mars. Are you looking for a better territory to protect? And what do you need to be protective of in your life? Because it is your territory, right? I want you to consider these questions. Do you need to protect your territorial right to something in your career space? I want to stay at this corner desk. It's my territory. Do you need to connect to territorial over your partner? You want to cling to them, not cling. That's terrible. But you could be, it's okay to have a healthy territoriality, right? We want that in life. Whether we have no boundaries and people walk all over us and we're a doormat. So I'm going to leave you with the idea of claiming your right to be territorial in some area of your life, that this moon may propel you, as it is the ruler of your 10th house, to indicate like to professional territorialness or relationship territorialness when it comes to more visible things like weddings, marriages, moving in, like upgrading your status within a relationship. All right. I just heard the song Stand Your Ground. Okay. Stand your ground, whatever that means to you. Stand your ground. I'm going to stand my ground. Okay. All right, moving on. I think this is going to be extremely long. I think I'm talking slow today. I'm jet lagged from Mexico. I'm on the wrong time zone. I got up at 4 a.m. Mexico time because it was 6 a.m. my time. Libra, sun, moon, and rising. Libra, sun, moon, and rising. Venus is very quite involved in this lunation. Let's talk about your Lord of your sign. Looking at the moon from her covered beams beneath the sun, you are going to have a full moon that planted from a seed in the end of May in your 9th house, foreign lands, foreign shores, and travel. 9th house, court and legal matters, higher education and universities, book publishing and book publishing deals, podcasting, etc. This is where something is fulfilling itself from seed you planted in May. It would be beautifully appointed for those of you who are writers looking to publish something because of Venus, the goddess of the arts, in the house of writing. Mars is down there for ambition and passion, and maybe some kind of creative or writing or passion project can take off. But you also have to fulfill the 9th house obligation, which is way up there. So if you're going to teach a class, don't teach it like weekend workshop. We're teaching like someone who, like 9-month course, like Adam Ellenbus teaching his year-long program in astrology. If you want to write something and you want to get it published, I like this moon a lot. Fulfilling a potential for success, but it's ruled by Mercury in your 2nd house, and that's your earning. So if you're going to fulfill a publishing opportunity or a podcasting opportunity or a writing or entrepreneurial opportunity, the premium is on the bottom line. Are you making money? Is this going to be financially good? Keep your eye on the money goal here, especially with Mercury, the ruler of the moon, flowing to all these beautiful worldly success energies in your 6th house of work, and the moon bending the worldly success in the house of work. You're asking for a turning point energy in your work to be more worldly and successful and financially successful as a result. It is also an energy that stimulates entrepreneurial business to succeed. Thank you, Saturn, for that. You're trying to come home to something in the house of long-term committed love, business partnerships, and relationship. It could be so many ways. You could be trying to come home to like the wounds of relationship have plagued you and you just want to settle. You want to migrate and land in your true home. You're homecoming to yourself through relationship, whether it's a business partnership, a way you meet your audience or marketplace, or a primary long-term love relationship. And the moon can signal the onset of that as a possibility for you. But it may connect you to relationships connected to long distance travel, foreign people and foreign places, for example. You might also feel that with this Mars energy playing out, that you will end up traveling quite a bit from this lunation. There might be a lot of travel. It could be commuting or traveling coming off this moon. And some of that travel looks international. But from all that travel, you're getting a lot more wealth, prosperity, and career success. So the travel part of something is favoring an up level of career recognition and success and wealth. So don't be afraid of multiple travel opportunities that emerge from this lunation looking great on you. Although, as I said, it could also open up a very powerful romance for single Libras because you are traveling and you meet someone in your traveling about. And I like this moon if you are in a relationship that it indicates travel can strengthen the relationship. And so any travel you plan in the time of the moon, December 6th, add anything, add 6 months, add 3 weeks. It is going to be a positive thing for you. I think for you to travel in a relationship that exists can really strengthen the relationship. And it's not always like that. I find that sometimes when people get away from each other, oh, I dropped a card, they travel and it doesn't work. You know, it's like we're going to get out of our normal 9 to 5 and we're going to make a trip. I have to put it back in. And we're going to get away from it all. And it just stresses people out. But in your case, this is not the case. Travel is an antidote, not a distraction in the existing relationship that you're in already. Do you have any isolation issues going on in your life at this time? And if so, I want you to address that, because this is the card of being all by yourself. It is interesting to see that, of course, you've got the South Node in the house of isolation. And there's a bridge there. And maybe you're trying to bridge some feeling of isolation. Maybe you work at home. Maybe you work alone. Maybe your partner travels a lot. Maybe you just feel like you're tired of being alone. These are isolation markers here. It's the South Node and the rainbow in your house of isolation and aloneness. And you're being drawn. This card wants you to pay attention to that feeling of isolation and what it's for, because I do think that honestly, this chart can significantly open up a new love story or a deeper resonant harmony in love with the one you're currently with. You can be in a relationship and still feel lonely, right? Like that loneliness and feeling isolated doesn't always mean that we're physically in aloneness. All right, moving on. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising. Let me take a couple glugs of my water. First of all, it is a moon that's full, and it comes off of the end of May's new moon of 2025, and it is going to light up a big spot like a flashlight in your chunky money house, have you inspect inheritances, taxes, investments, finances, banking, mortgages. However, I do like Chiron, Leleaukuhonua, and child, because you might be able to pay off a debt with this moon. And, you know, it's a recovery moon from debt indebtedness. And so if there's a place where you have financial indebtedness, even if it's just your credit card debts, I like this moon to help you pay it off, because the North Node also is in the house of good fortune, including winning money, right? With the rainbow, a pot of gold in the house of windfalls, with the South Node of destiny. Some of you could come into some financial windfalls, and, you know, Pluto moon, it could be legacy, wealth, inheritance money. Anyway, whatever it is, money coming in a sort of a auspicious manner could help you eliminate some indebtedness on the financial front. And there's a vibe here with the moon also, you know, just kind of in the crosshairs of the nodes of fate on a money axis. You're coming into some major life turning points connected to money off of this moon. And money will not be the same after this. It just won't be. You're going to handle money differently, debts differently, earnings differently, resources differently. Because Mars is in the second house, and he quite often is a self-starter and entrepreneur, and with the North Node in the fifth house, this moon could jumpstart some Scorpios to start a new entrepreneurial direction in work and business. But it's also just as good for a book publishing contract if you're a entrepreneur, a book or a writer. So art and writing and creativity and entrepreneurship. Yeah, you can get a book publishing thing off of this for those of you who are in that milieu. Venus is, being reflected by the moon. And so there's like a money goddess being reflected. She's under the beams of the sun, so she's hiding out. But there could be some hidden money, literally, that you didn't know is there. Like you're going to find some money coming your way that was hidden from you in some way. Just hold on to that. Write it down. You get back to me 6 months from now, go, oh my God, Lori said, money's coming to me in a good fortune way that was hidden from me. I don't know how money can be hidden from you. Maybe you just didn't notice it was under your pillow, but hidden money is returning to you. Now, for some of you, it could be very immediate, December 4th moon and add a week or 2 days before and a week after, and you'll know what I'm talking about. Some of you, it could unfold over a month, and some of you under a longer arc of time. So by the time we get to next May, June, tell me what that money was about. I'd love to hear back. Or email me or whatever. All my contact information is in the about section of this channel or in the description box. Mercury rules the moon. He's in your sign. He's making you very perspectively oriented. Like, what is the word? I got a word for it. Like your mind is seeing things under that other people don't see. You have a detective mind right now, detective sleuthing nature, kind of bakes it into the moon for you. An ability to see or understand or know things that are not obvious to other people. But Mercury ruling the entire money lunation, right? In your 8th house suggests that you will be able to, I would say, investigate or speak or ask the right questions in order to secure some kind of money that is hidden from you but belongs to you. Best I can do. Again, we can see inheritances here for sure. Pluto moon. Jupiter is in the house of courts. If you have to kind of pry some money out from underneath an inheritance situation, you're going to win. You've got Jupiter on your side. He's retrograde. Probably money you should have had already. And if this doesn't make any sense to you, don't worry about it. It's a general reading. Yeah, that's what I've got for you. I don't really see much else I can say about this. You want to come home to a true path in the work you do. And you want to come home to a feeling that your work and you are aligned and it really fits with who you are. And the moon can help uncover hidden things that were out of view from your childhood that put you on a path. When you look at it now, you could say in this moon's light, oh my God, I took a path that really wasn't for me. What was I thinking? Like, how did I end up on this path? Right. And you'll see that the way you ended up there was something from your growing up and what your parents told you. Preparation. There's something you need to prepare for. It looks to me as it's money coming to you in some new way. But you want to get ready for it. And maybe you want to prepare the nest or prepare the way. And if I was giving you advice, because it looks a lot to me like money's coming for you. So the birds are preparing here. I can't tell how they're preparing, but they're preparing. I actually got a really cool vibe. Why don't you prepare the way by imagining what to do with money that comes to you that was hidden from view and how you could use that money for something that is completely needed in your life. And I do want to mention that Venus is in the house of possessions with Mars. And is there some possession that you really need that you would like to have? And if you had the money for it, you would get it. Is it a car? Is it a home? Is it a new device for your work? High-grade laptop or something like that. So I'm just saying, maybe just prepare by imagining what you're going to do with this money that may be coming your way and bridging a gap. You have windfall energy here with the rainbow in the house of windfalls. I'm going to leave you with that. Now, I can see that my chart is wide open, and when I want to share with it, can you guys, let's see if it'll let me do it. Oh, this time it did it. Don't ask. Yeah, a lot of you know what happened. Like my MacBook Pro doesn't work very well with the Zoom share button. All right, moving on to the next sign. Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. What time am I at? Okay. This is a story where the moon is full, taking off a new moon in May. It's full in your marriage house. You might get to a new relationship. However, completion moon might end it. Did you start thinking about ending a relationship in May, June, or were you looking for a new one? Okay, either one, fulfillment or completions in a long-term committed love story. Oh, what's the chironic wound in the house of sex since 2019? Sex, love, and romance. Have you been feeling like a little bit off kilter, not getting down with your romantic partner the way you'd like, and it's been bothering you since 2019, or you keep finding romantic partners who are just all wrong for you? That could be a thing. Now, one thing about that energy is that there's a wound that wants to heal, and it's going to be done by 2027, not to worry. But as you're preparing for that shift, you can see that you want to come home to something more authentic, your true nature, maybe in the house of love, romance, pleasure, fun, joy, play. Child is here. Find that playful child within you. Heal the wound by getting your crayons out, finger painting, dancing, in the rain. Do something that you would do when you were a kid. Find your inner child is what it looks like to me. The moon will help you do that in order to heal a wound regarding love and romance or relationship, long-term relationship. I feel like anytime the moon is in the 7th house and activates the romance house so precisely, you need to look at mother wounds as they connect to how you have been disappointed in long-term love relationships, okay? If you have been. And your children belong to the 5th house, and there may be a return to a more connection or a better relationship, a healing of a wound with one of your children. That's a possibility here as well. The moon is reflecting in the 7th house, Venus and the Mars energy and the sun. It's on a worldly success star, as I said at the beginning. Your significant marriage partner may have some worldly success breakthroughs in their life, especially if they have an entrepreneurial or creative business. There may be some worldly success going on in the life of someone else in your world. But the light of the moon is trying to reflect that invisible Venus. So if you're a single Sag, you may have a hidden admirer. You literally may have somebody, maybe even close to home, that you consider in your social circles as just a friend. And or you may have somebody not too far away from you that you haven't noticed yet. And maybe you'll get an introduction through an elder sibling or through a social gathering. And if you're single, this moon can bring in that new relationship. But you can't quite see it right now. It's hidden from your view, but it will become visible. You're making some decisions off this moon. Some of them are about where you want to live, and some of you will move. And you can count on that. Some of you in the next 6 months are making powerful decisions to rehome yourself. And some of those are going to be connected to beginnings and endings in long-term relationships. There's a rainbow at the top of the sky. And if you move, it's destined, fated, could be to a foreign country other than the one you currently live in. You'll notice that there's a rainbow in your 10th house with the south node. You want to make a bridge here. Unfortunately, the bridge is connecting self and other as well from the 10th house. So a bridge to the end of a relationship and make it a happy one, because the south node is to let go and release and surrender. And it's ruled by Mercury, ruler of your marriage house. Backroom deals and negotiations to release yourself from a relationship, potential significant new love stories can blossom from far off places and distant shores, or a new home to a distant shore or foreign land may come off of this moon. I see a lot of you dealing, though, primarily with self and other, whether there is someone in your life now or there will be. This moon is focused on that, but it's complicated because in the house of weddings, we have the house of letting go. And the sign of letting go. So you might want to consider you could let go of a relationship and also bring in a new one. It's not an either or, it's an and, right? You never have to go either or, go and. God's favorite word is and. You got 6 months to pull it off. This is the distance card. Yes. North node in the 4th house. You may move your home after this lunation up to 6 months later to a distant, far off place, foreign land, foreign shore, foreigner energy. Mercury rules the moon in the house of distant shores, distance, and far off lands. Now, you may be feeling distant from somebody because the south node is squaring your marriage house, with a chironic wound in the sex house. Could be like a frigid house with 2 separate beds and no sex. And if that's what's going on, you'll know it. This is the distance you're experiencing, and something's got to give. I mean, do you want a roommate or do you want a lover? Take your pick. If your wife or husband is a roomie, and maybe you don't want that anymore. I see some of you letting go of relationships here. Not all of you, but some of you for sure. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign. Big full moon, taking cue from a new moon at the end of May. The full moon light shining brightly, shining big in your sixth house of health, work, pets, debts, service. Full light completion, fulfillment. Sometimes at full moon here can complete a job, complete a path you're on, work-wise, time to let it go. Full moon can complete some situation with regards to a property that you're renting or that you rent out as a landlord, or a completion fulfillment regarding situations regarding animals and a pet. Now, because you got a lot of hospital things going on, especially Mars, the loss of a beloved pet, I'm sorry, may fruit off of this story. May not be your pet. It may be one of your children's pet. You ask me why? Because Venus in the house of hospitals is the ruler of your house of children, and the moon is in the house of pets. So I do know a Cappy who's got a daughter's dog is not doing well, illness perhaps. And so this could just be a sign that this moon could precipitate that pet's passing anytime within 6 months after the moon of December the 4th, 5th, especially on December the 4th. The moon is ruled by Mercury in your 11th house of windfalls. Uranus is on a wealth star in the house of winning lotteries or money, luck, and good fortune. Yet, and that's possible, money could be coming to you in unexpected ways. This moon would say it's time to do debt repayment. Now, is it real debt? Like you got to pay a credit card, or is it karmic debt? Or would you pay a debt to somebody, or, so money can come through debt. Somebody owes you something and now the money's coming. And that's another way of looking at this guy. Don't have to win the lottery, but it's like a lottery. When someone pays you the money back, they owe you, right? That kind of thing. Because this moon is connected to a positive flow to the migratory birds who want their true home in the house of home with the asteroid child. Now, child can be very literal, your childhood home, or moving to the area you lived in as a child. And some of you may, in fact, be thinking of doing that, going to live somewhere that you lived when you were younger, to move back to your homeland, for example, or your home or your hometown. And this move would suggest a rental because of the placement of the moon at this point. But it looks like a migration here. A lot of you might be moving your home, renting a property, moving to another house, maybe having more than one home for all I know, but there's a change because Gemini represents two homes, right? But there could be a change of home. And it would feel good. It would feel like a homecoming in some regard. You've been chironically wounded by the issues around your home, your childhood, your home life, your mother relationship since 2019. This is kind of restoring some faith in the universe because it does look like a chance for a new home. But I suggest it's a rental based on the position of the moon. And you could rehome yourself. Mars says to a distant shore from where you currently live, right? So it's not like in the local environment. Could be a foreign country or just a far off place, the other side of the country. If you're in the far west, go far east, or if you're in the south, go north, that kind of thing. I think that the North Node, of course, wants you to expand and grow. And this is a house of neighbors and neighborhood, for example, where the local environment wants to change. It wants a destined, fated change. It wants to have a place that's more steadfast, reliable, and durable, but maybe also a place that allows you some solitude and alone time. And maybe a dream place near water because of Pisces. So maybe for some Cappies, there's a move somewhere near water. You get a little solitude, you get your dream place, that's a vibe. And also the North Node continually suggests it's a destined move, right? But it can also mean, the North Node can mean the foreign energy as well, foreign from where you currently are. It doesn't actually have to be a foreign land either, but far off. Rainbow, South Node. Okay, letting go, releasing, surrendering a spiritual belief or a faith or a third marriage relationship or a path, a dharmic path. I'm trying to make a bridge. The 9th house wants to bridge the 6th and the 12th. I think it's calling you to an aligned service, a new work path, and letting go of the path you're on, finding a new path for work. Venus rules your work house. She's hidden behind the sun, but the moon reflects her. So the moon will show you a new viable karmic and dharmic path of work. For those of you who already have work and love your work, it'll show you a new element of the work that you want to align with and follow. And it'll bring you money. It'll bring you money. It's not just a pastime. That's what I got for you. Let's draw a card. The card for Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising, to go with the astrology, not instead of it. It's the night. It's number 33. Na, 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 in the night. Okay, what's the night story about? Probably the night is telling me that you've got, in the midnight hour, the Chironic wound with the asteroid child and the homecoming of the migratory birds. That is the third house of the night, like nighttime. 33rd card is, of course, very Masonic. It's also very Jesus died at. It's got a powerful master number vibe. You could definitely look at it like a possibility also, this kind of the night. Your 12th house is lit, right? Sun, Venus, and Mars, all in the invisible 12th house. 12th house often is where we are doing things in solitude, so hidden from the world's view. There's a lot going on with this idea of what the nights are about for you at this time. Just going to leave that with you. Neptune, the dream god, is in the bottom of your chart. So pay attention to your dreams off this moon, actually literally on the moon. Pay attention to your nocturnal dreams, especially with the south node and the bridge of the rainbow in the house of the dream temples of Asclepius, your 9th house. I suggest there's a lot of power in your nighttime experiences and your home alone at night, but also your dream realms as well. That's my interpretation anyway. I'm going to stick with it. Oh, come on, Lori. Aquarius, I'm one of you. I'm a rising sign. What's this story look like? Come on, gang, let's talk. First of all, it's a big full light shining brightly, and it's planted from a new moon flashlight, seed back in May, end of May in Gemini. It's your creative, artistic, entrepreneurial house. It's your 5th house of children. It's your 5th house of romantic love. So May, June, did you plant a seed for romance? Did you plant a seed for creativity, art, entrepreneurial stuff? Did you plant a seed of some sort? Because a fulfillment is here, and it's not any old fulfillment. There's a yearning, a homecoming, a migratory bird energy with a childlike thing in the 3rd house. Is there some part of your 3rd house that's been wounded? Like it's a house of writing, teaching, learning, communicating, online, social media. It's a house of your neighbors and neighborhood and where you live. And there's a chironic wound. Confession. I have not felt like I belong to the neighborhood I've lived in, right, since 2019. What do I mean by belong? I don't have real good friends. Like I do, but not really. I don't have that feeling that like I've landed in my hood. You know what I mean? There are times I've lived in places where this is my place. I belong here. This feels good. So there's an example. So there's now something changing. Something wants to shift. The moon is in a flow to this migratory bird, which means migrating your neighborhood. So there is a change likely up to 6 months after this moon of where you live locally to a new neighborhood or area of where you live. That's a possibility. And the moon is also indicating maybe some shifts or changes in your love life, romantic life. And the moon is reflecting the light of the sun in the house of friendship, but it rules the house of committed love. In social groups of belonging and friendship circles, or maybe the introduction of a new relationship or a new relationship emerging because of travel. And it can be travel to far off lands or even locally. It doesn't matter. So single Aquariuses may discover new relationships in this lunation. This lunation is bending your North Node in the house of worldly success, North Node on a worldly success moon, and the North Node's in the house of earnings, resources, and money. There's no two ways about it. There's a change, but also a positive change in the way money is coming to you. And the moon brings its own brand of worldly success, especially if you're in a field that involves communications, but still it's worldly success. Sometimes fame or celebrity comes off the 5th or 11th house. So there could be an uptick of celebrity with Venus behind the sun's beams in the 11th. That is going to be invisible, but it's like a ticking good time bomb that there's already a kind of waiting to happen, invisible level of influence or celebrity, perhaps, or love or romance. And I love that the cosmic lovers are in your 11th house of friendship, because it does indicate that through friends or friendship environments, the emergence of a new romance can occur for the single people looking for love. If you're already in a relationship, traveling with your significant other can fortify and strengthen the romance and intimacy in that relationship. And you may have opportunities for that travel in the months that follow. There's two ways about it. The moon's in the house of good fortune, right? Some good fortune. Uranus is on the Wealth star in the 4th house of home, property, and real estate. You might have some good financial fortune emerge out of the blue, connected to property, land, and real estate. Child and neighborhood and migration. You might want to move to a place you lived when you were a child. You could win the hospital lottery draw. I'm in a hospital lottery draw based on this chart. Venus wants to bring you windfalls, but it's connected to land and property according to Uranus. With the rainbow in your 8th house, this is chunky money. This can be an inheritance. This could be a stock investment. This could be royalty or ad income. There's a south node energy to pull you away from that. Sometimes I see it like in clients' charts: stop living off your inheritance, stop living off your spousal support, stop living off of other people's monies, right? Or let it go somehow energetically. There is that. But it's also the rainbow, the bridge that crosses, allows two shores to connect. And there's always a pot of gold at the end of a rainbow. Iris is a rainbow asteroid. So I'm wondering if there's some kind of pot of gold at the end of a money rainbow coming your way in a shocking, surprising, exciting way. Uranus on the Wealth star in the 4th house. Mercury rules the moon in the 10th house of reputation and career. Whatever is going on in the area of life that you call your creative entrepreneurial stuff or your romance and love becomes very quickly visible to the world. Everyone sees it. The moon's reflecting Venus, a diva, in your 11th. There may be some breakthrough in your social influence or celebrity status. You might have a lot of microphone in your face, going on podcasts and stuff like that. This guy named Parker emailed me the other day, and I had a dream about a guy named Parker, and he books you onto other people's shows, and I have to follow through with him. And so there's an example of that. Maybe I'll be busy on other people's shows, getting invited to talk in other environments. And that's all that I'm looking at here. Last but not least, but least but not last, Mars does rule that like homecoming, yearning for a homecoming, a true home, all of that stuff. And he is in the house of a very positive house, a good spirit house. If there's a move coming, a move may be connected to siblings. There may be a relocation because of siblings or connected to siblings as well. That's what I've got for you. Let's draw a card. I think I'll tell some stories. I'll do an outro today. I'll talk about paying attention to our dreams at night. For those of you who remember your dreams, I'll give you tips for those who don't. Influence. Well, my channel's sinking in subscribers, but it gets 1 million views a month. Maybe my channel will get some more. I'll get some more. Yes, it is about influence. But what can you influence in your life? The 11th house suggests the moon reflects in the house of entrepreneurial and creative energy, a bit of celebrity or influence coming your way, especially with the sun ruling the 7th house of the audience. Then the moon reflects that in the house of entrepreneurial good fortune and creativity. That aside, that's the astrology. I'm going to ask every one of my fellow Aquarians, what and where and how do you have any kind of influence in your life? Right? Because I'm going to give you the answer. The only thing you really can influence is yourself. And if you haven't learned that from Pluto in your 1st house, you'll never learn it. Pluto's going to teach that lesson. The power you need to find in life is not to be influential over others, to have others say you're influencing them, but to be in your authentic power is to be able to influence the things you can truly influence, and that's you. And what about you can you influence? How you respond to life. I'm jet lagged as F, and I'm exhausted. I almost took an aspirin today. and I'm just going ahead, and my influence in life is to have a positive attitude. Over myself, right? I had the best client reading with a client this morning. I don't see very many people. My Patreon community got some readings from me, booked them through November, December. And I was so grateful for her because I went in there saying, I got an opportunity to serve somebody, and they won the spot they paid for it, but they won the spot. And so, yeah. But yes, you could have some outer influence in the world as well. I mean, in other words, be influential. All righty. Last but not least is Pisces Sun, my Pisces Moon, Pisces Rising. And here we go. Best and always best. You guys are going through a period of fulfillment or completion in your home. Go back to May, June. What did you see? Did you plant? Did you want to do something in your home? Decorate your home, paint your home, fulfill something in your home? You're fulfilling now. Fulfillment in the home, completion in the home, fruitfulness in the home. Watch out, Jupiter in your 5th house, babies in the home. Are you pregnant or your children? Mercury in the house of grandchildren. Good chance that some of you will find a baby coming down the pipeline, and you might be a grandparent in the next 6 months. Now, the other energy, though, of that fulfillment moon in the 4th house is asking you, as it bends the node of fate in your sign, to achieve worldly success. It's a worldly success moon on Aldebaran. The success you can achieve is from your home base, and you can grow in influence, wealth, and stature and have long-term gains from this. And this can look like from your home, you are doing what, right? Because the sun is the ruler of your house of work. It's reflected by the moon in the 4th house. Working from home. So I'm going to suggest for some Pisces, the home-based work routines and work developments can be quite prosperous. Thank you, Venus, and very successful financially in the next 6 months. Mars says, let's bring the money home. Venus says, let's make this fun. The sun says, let's light up the sky. And Moon says, I'll reflect it from home base. You're looking at a very good opportunity to be successful from your home base and some work-related activity. Now, the other thing that could happen is a wedding, right? Yes, Mercury in the house of churches, the rainbow bridge in the house of relationships, South Node fated and destined. Yeah. So some of you may tie the knot in an existing relationship if the knot is still untied. New levels of commitment. You might be not seeing that right now. You'd be like, what's she talking about? But it's a possibility for sure, given what's going on the top of the sky. Venus up here is under the sun's beams and invisible. There's hidden career and hidden relationship rewards. That's only if the relationship wants to level up, like to moving in or getting married and that kind of thing. I would also note that you have a chironic wound in the earnings, resources, money house since 2019. It's desperately trying to heal. And the migratory yearning, the homecoming, and the child asteroid are with Chiron, and they're sextiling the moon. And there may be an opportunity for money connected to a home, change of home. There may be a change of home that leads to more money. Or you don't have to change your home at all. Something you're doing in and from your home flows to this homecoming regarding work, earnings, and money. I'm wondering if the asteroid child is to have a childlike approach to it, like you're, making your lemonade stand for the first time, delivering the newspapers, getting your first summer job. The energy of the child is here. And so don't overthink it, guys. Just have some fun here. Just play with the beginner's mind. Have some fun. Certainly would say with Mars at the 10th in the 10th house and Venus, being reflected, although they're invisible, but energetically reflected by the moon. There's a lot of career energy going on here, but it's connected to your home base, So yeah, I don't know what to tell you there. Mercury could move you to a far off land or a distant shore. He rules the moon. You might move countries. You might move to a place far away from where you are. You might have to do a bridging of the rainbow bridge between you and another. See the bridge? And there's how do you bridge the distance with this rainbow in a relationship setting? Jupiter here says good love, true love, generous, magnanimous love. It's retrograde now, right? So it won't be direct until next spring in March. Love from the past coming back to renew and restore and rebridge here. I want this moon, though, for you to be like, how can you fulfill your financial goals connected to your home, whether it's to sell a home, buy a home, or to work from home? Because that's what seems to really want to open up for you here. And Saturn with the North Node, Saturn rules the house of windfalls. So yes, you could come into a bit of money because of Jupiter in the house of good fortune. I won't put that to the side. That's a possibility. But likely it has to come through some Uranian energy, and that would be financial good fortune / windfall connected to things that go on in the third house. Siblings, money from a sibling, connected to a sibling, connected to aunts, uncles, cousins, connected to windfalls in your local environment, by the local, the local raffle to support the fire hall, that kind of thing. And see if you can't win some money off of that. Because Jupiter can definitely look like good financial fortune through like winning, or, you know what I mean? Like gambling, speculation. Don't overdo it. I always say never overdo your speculation. But because some people buy 2,500 lottery tickets and they're broke. Why would you do that? It takes one to win abundance. Well, Jupiter is bringing you abundance. Okay. He's in your 5th house of good fortune, and it can be good financial fortune. And the windfall house is ruled by Saturn on the North Node in your sign. So yes, you could have some abundance off of this moon. But I told you that already. Prosperity and career success in and from or about the home. I'm just sitting for a second. I don't know. I kind of think that with the South Node squaring the moon in the 4th house, changes of relationship or changes of home are interconnected somehow. All right, that's what I got for you. Now let's go ahead and do the outro. So I think our dreams are often like put aside. I wake up in the morning and I forget to write them down. I wrote mine down this morning, thank goodness. Oh, I didn't. But I know what they are. But I write them down every morning in a dream journal. It's a little journal here. You don't see my dream journal. Oh, these candles smell so good. Okay, so this is my dream journal. And every day I get up, and if I have really good dreams, big dreams, I can remember my dreams, I write them down. I've been doing that for years. If you don't remember your dreams, you can learn how by writing your dreams down, talking it into the phone every time you wake up, even in the middle of the night. It's distracting for your sleep at first, but it works. And you can cultivate the habit of dream recall. Second of all, because you're dreaming, you're just not remembering it. Some people have naturally high dream recall. And it means when they wake up, the left and right hemispheres of the brain don't like push apart, like they keep the synchrony between the hemispheres moving, that you can cultivate. But often what distracts you is an alarm. An alarm jolts you awake and you lose the coherence in the left and right hemisphere, and the memory goes with it. So try not to always have an alarm set, basically. All right. So, and go to bed early. And all my best dreams happen when I'm on my 9th hour of sleep, and waking up naturally. So I had a dream about this guy named Parker. I was in like a gumshoe detective, and there was the old 1940s building, and then there was this embossment, and the word was Parker, and I wrote that down and told my friend about it. I'm like, oh my God. And then I didn't even see the email that came in. I think just after or just before that dream, it got caught in a slush junk box. And it was some guy named Parker who helps book people like me and other people's podcasts, right? But then I was on my trip to Mexico, and he pinged me again saying, did you see my message? And then I saw his message. So the dreams are portents and omens if you pay attention to them. Otherwise, you're not going to get the information, right? And they had the Asclepian dream temples all over ancient Greece, where you would go and you would sleep overnight and you would ask the gods for a dream to show you the way. Now, Asclepium, whatever they were called. Now, there's so many examples of my dreams being prophetic for the world, like the 9/11 tower shaking on fire 6 months before they went down. Like skiers dying in an avalanche. I had a dream, and the next day there was Alps skiers dying in an avalanche. I had a dream about a sports team on an airplane. I was on the airplane with them. I'm always in a disaster dream. Okay, so I had a dream about a tidal wave. I was in it. My phone was beeping that there was a tidal wave alert or earthquake alert. So there will be one of those. It's coming up. That dream was like a month ago. This is November 25th. It's still on the radar for me. I had a dream about I was on an airplane full of athletes, like an athletic team, and it was going down. I was in the bathroom, and I was okay. Well, then we had the team of a sports team went down in an airplane. I can't remember which one. It was my dream was before that, within 2 or 3 months. Most times my dreams don't take any longer than 6 months to manifest. But anyway, the point is to pay attention to your dreams. There was a guy that I dated. No, I didn't. I married the guy. I'm not going to give you his name for his privacy, but say his name is Bert. He's got a weird name, very unusual name. And I had a dream about a guy named Bert phoning me and trying to get a good connection in the conversation. And in the dream, I was breaking up with one guy. His name was Keith. We were at the end of our relationship, a 2-year relationship, no hardship. We're really good friends. Went to his wedding after that with another woman after me. And in the dream, I was in the middle of a breakup with this guy named Keith and figuring out how to say, sayonara, we're done. And like we were apart. I was traveling at the time. And then I had this dream. So when I finally met Bert, Keith, who was my friend by then, 2 years later, had segued into friendship, brought Bert to my house party at Halloween. And Bert walked in and I was introduced to Bert, the guy, the name I dreamt about, and I instantly recognized the guy. Like, you are the guy from my dream. This feels like the same person. So pay attention to your dreams. We all have this capacity. I've just cultivated it over years, but you can start anywhere. There's like an energy going on. It's not ascension. Why do we want to ascend? What are we ascending to? You know what I mean? Be here now. Be still now. The ascension stuff makes me gag. Okay. I'm anti like ascension wave. I can tell you about that because I used to be like that. So I come out of my own, like the airy fairy pie in the sky stuff. I think it's spiritual bypass. I think you can be fully now, feel fully here, fully present. No need to ascend or descend, like descend to drugs and alcohol, ascend to some lofty place of ascension. It's just as bad as the rapture. Just be here, be present. And that's all that is needed. The thing I want to mention though about dreams, was it about dreams? Oh, there is an increase or a activation in the collective. More people are dreaming, more people are channeling, more people are having prophetic insights, more people are intuitive. They always were. It's opening up. I don't know if it's a DNA activation or it's just opening up. So if you thought, oh, you could never had a prophetic dream or my intuition is terrible, don't believe yourself. I should do a psychic development class because I used to teach that in my 30s and I got new tricks up my sleeve that can take even the most diehard skeptic and open them up to their psychic ability. Yeah, seriously. Okay, that's it. Video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this with friends and family. The subscribers are down. You guys, I love doing this content for you, but if this channel subscribers don't continue to grow, then the channel metrics don't reinforce this business model for me either at the back end. So I don't know what's going on. I haven't changed my content significantly, but the subscriber element is, I think, because YouTube's not sharing it to new people. It keeps showing it to the same people, and I keep carving out a little bit more subscribers from the regulars. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all that jazz. See you soon.